Welcome, geeks, gamers, furries, and ninja robots. This is HorsePLAY Live. Today is Monday, January 22nd. This is episode 213 of HorsePLAY, tentatively titled Super Fast Shutdown and Dragon Ball Z, actually Dragon Ball GT Revisited. That's what we're going to be talking about today. It's a quickie. And yes, we are not on the normal schedule. We missed a recording last week, so you're going to get a double helping this week. I actually meant to do this episode offline, but I guess I'm streaming. So here we are. I mean, I might as well set the title. Post production. Oh man, I'm your host Yogi, by the way, your bald bear lizard host, and gonna make this a quick one, so we get back caught up, and then resume normal schedule. Warchild's here. Don't worry, brother. I'm only doing a 5-10 minute episode, because we missed last week. Last week it got away from me, so do want to apologize for that. It's been a particularly hectic time. I worked Saturday and Sunday pretty much all day, so I didn't get a weekend. So running on fumes here. I'm hoping I could get Friday off. You're in Japan for real? Dude, that's awesome. Japan's like one of those places. Japan is my Disney World. Everybody, most for the average person, going to Disney World at least once in their life is a big deal. For me, that'd be Japan. I might get over the fact that I don't like traveling that much, just just because I love Japanese culture. So that's pretty cool, dude. I hope to see lots of photos. You should write a photo journal, and we'll repost it on the Geeky Answers, or give us an exclusive of your experience over there. I know it's an expensive trip, but what a unique culture, and I think we're all secretly otakus, or maybe not so secretly. I meant with the first episode of the year to talk about the Doctor Who Christmas special, so I might as well just jump in. And by the way, we do the show live at twitch.tv/geeky antics. Usually on Thursdays, but lately it's been on Fridays. But I'm gonna push really hard to get back on the Thursday schedule. I'm just gonna probably do it a little earlier. Cause we have it scheduled for 11 p.m., but I think 10 will be the sweet spot for us. Um, because Fridays and Saturdays have just been crazy, and I don't see it getting normal. We usually have the grandkids over, and then I'm babysitting. Now we have a new puppy. As if we didn't have enough animals. And I love animals, but geez, now there's never any rest for us. And if it's not the cats waking me up, it's dogs. It's like no, you slept enough. Um, Sweet, yeah. So Warchild Mark IV MKIV. That's Warchild MKIV on Twitch. He's gonna be doing a podcast, so make sure you check that out. Warbound Radio. I also want to plug. I haven't plugged a lot of our fellows as of late. Other shows on the network, B Team Podcasts, uh, Ghost Hunter. Not the Ghost Hunter. Oh my God, the Ghost and Demon show. God, I'm butchering the name. Sean's show. You'll see it. They have a special show. I'm totally brain farting right now. Ghost Man and Demon Hunter. Yeah, that's what it is. You need to change your name, make it something more catchy. But great show, high production value. They have a lot of good guests. One of which last year was it last year? Guys, I have no concept of time. It was Dan Aykroyd. Gaming Death Podcast. They're also on Twitch. Who else? B Team Podcast, one of my favorites. I've been kind of falling behind on my podcasts. I haven't been doing Time and YBT time lately. Shame on me. That has to be a 2-man show. Because I want to talk about Doctor Who and other random stuff that doesn't really fit into our format here. Zombie Cast, of course. Those are the main ones I would say. Oh, and R9 Cast. 42 level 1. Jesus. But yeah, I used to listen to podcasts every day religiously, and it's just I've been like getting up. I might watch an episode of an anime because it's quicker, um, and then go to work. And yep, and then I come home and have dinner and probably go to bed. Nah, there's not. It's been that bad the past couple of weeks, but it's not always that bad. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start. I've been listening to a lot of talk radio lately. Well, yeah, not safe for wrestling, SFW. Um, that's been going on at random times now. That's been kind of on hiatus as well. Anyway, so I think what I might do now when I'm driving around is catch up on my podcast, at least the BT podcast. Oh, I gotta give a shout out to Pop Belly Gamers. They've been killing it on All Games Radio Network, which we're also part of. And that's over at allgames.com. And of course, our mothership site is geekyantics.net. Make sure you check out geekyantics.net for his Discord. You can join us on a free chat server. Make sure you download the Discord app if you don't have it yet. It's an awesome place to be. You can be in multiple servers at once, and you get the text chat, you get the voice chats. It's awesome. Much love to Obi1X2, who's now a Twitch affiliate, and Beard and Hat, who's now he renamed his channel again. It's Taylor7, so that's a lot easier to remember. So make sure you check them out. They're both now Twitch affiliates. And it's a Twitch affiliate program, something I was recommending a long time. Cause partnership, the way they accept the people is very random and unfair a lot of the times. And a lot of times people really need that partnership, the burden of being basically owned by another brand. So being an affiliate gives you a lot of the things that you really want from being a partner without that feeling like, oh, well, I kind of lost my autonomous nature. So anyway, back to Doctor Who. The Christmas special was awesome. We got to see the new Doctor for like all of like 3 minutes. But her presence, definitely seems very compelling. I don't think it's just gonna be a matter of, oh, it's a female Doctor, so that's what we should be excited. I think she's gonna bring a lot of acting chops to it. And I recognize her from Black Mirror. I believe she was on one of the episodes of that. Black Mirror is basically, I guess, what I would call today's version of the Twilight Zone. So really good stuff there. I'm excited for that. And God, I don't even know. I guess Doctor Who comes back in the fall. Ugh. What are we up to, season 12 now? Oh, Jesus. I'm freaking... So, that Christmas special was amazing. They brought in someone that really nailed the William Hartnell kind of vibe. The first Doctor from when the show was black and white. I mean, we're talking about over 50 years of Doctor Who. And I'm really shitty with remembering movies and shows after the fact. But just the feelings I could always, call the feels, man. It's all about the feels. Just the way Peter Capaldi went out was just amazing. I think he did a really great job of selling it. The emotion of him not wanting to leave, and it almost felt like Peter Capaldi as an actor was talking to the fans, like, I don't want to go, but it's my time. So you see him fighting the regeneration. And for those of you that don't follow Doctor Who, you're probably like, what the hell are you talking about? So, long story short, Doctor Who is a show that had a very clever way of dealing with changes in actors for the lead role. They just wrote it in as part of the universe. Oh, the Doctors regenerate, and that's it. So it's explained by the story. So whereas other shows would just try to hope that you would forget the previous person, it's like, oh yeah, this guy's different. Oh well, and eventually, the fans would forget, or would they? There's been several shows I could think of. There's been several shows that have changed the main characters, but thinking of them right on top of my head, it's not gonna happen. One I can think of is Lex. They changed the girl, the sexy girl, the ubiquitous sexy girl that's traveling with them on a spaceship. She changed. Both of the girls were very good, but I'm trying to remember which one I liked better. WarChild says Spartacus. A show I still have not gotten into. Eventually I will though. It might fill the void for Game of Thrones. But speaking of which, I've been on an anime binge, and because of it, I have not caught back up with the fall TV shows that just came back. Lethal Weapon, um, Lucifer, Supernatural is back. I'm not sure about Flash, or The Arrow, or Legends of Tomorrow. This is a lot. There's just so much TV that's good, if not really good now. It's really hard. It's you need like a job just dedicate to that TV watching. And he's which I says the main character in Spartacus changed because the original had cancer and died. That sucks. It's kind of a sucky thing to carry with you. That's the legacy of your show, you know. It's definitely happened in Harry Potter. Didn't the original Dumbledore die of cancer as well? That's another interesting thing. That's probably one of the reasons I like animated series, because you have a lot more flexibility. With live action shows and long standing series, a movie series, you know, the actors get old, and if they're supposed to be a certain age, and you don't, you know, you don't explain it in the plot, and it's like, why do they look older now, but they're the same age, you know? So that's kind of an interesting thing. I guess with Harry Potter, the characters grew organically, for lack of a better word, so that it worked out for that. But you look at Supernatural, it's kind of hard to get a good sense of the progression of time. You know, is it happening in time, in the same time that we see the show? So year by year, each season is another year in their lives. Through a couple of years pass, you don't really have a sense of that. I guess they do that on purpose. You know the chronological order of things, but not exactly how much time's passing between seasons. Like I say though, on Supernatural, Sam and Dean, they do not age much. I mean, you can tell they're very fresh faced in the first season or two, but after that, it's very subtle, the changes, so it works, you know. But still, this is a tough thing to deal with as a writer. People get older, there's maybe certain things they can't do anymore if they're doing stunts, you know. A lot of challenges with that. Before I jump into the anime I've been kind of binging, in what little free time I have, the big thing that's been going on is the government shutdown, and now it's over, or is it? You know, I think a lot of people were worried about what it meant for, you know, a lot of key services and people getting paid that are in civil jobs, public servant jobs, I guess you call them. So basically, what they did is the president finally just passed a bill. I think it happened a couple hours ago, to make it official. That basically prevents any government shutdown until February 8th, at which point they'll review, they'll have a supposedly fair and balanced review or hearing, a discussion, some sort of big powwow to discuss the major thing that I think was really what all this was about, which is DACA. I'm not going to pretend to know all the detail, and I'm not really much one for politics, though. Again, I have been getting more into talk radio. I guess it's a sign I'm getting old. I care about what's going on around me, even though it's always bad news. Like the cop that got stabbed in Augusta, though he survived, fortunately. Anywho, so the main thing with DACA, as I understand it, is it's a bill they're trying to pass to was delayed. What is it? Delayed Action for Children Act. I believe is what it stands for. Essentially, allowing the children of illegal immigrants to become naturalized or at least stay in the United States and receiving full benefits and blah blah blah. Or well, that those are the details that are not completely settled now. You know, do they get full benefits? Are they naturalized? Do they become a U.S. citizen? Blah blah blah. Do their immediate families get to stay as well? And there's a term I think it's called chain immigration, and it is an issue. You know, if a person gets to immigrate, or they illegally immigrate, and then they're allowed to stay, you know, is it fair? Is it right to, you know, by relationship to have them be able to bring other people over? You know, it's a serious issue because then it's like those other people that get to chain immigrate get to bypass a lot of the background checks and processes that prevent criminals from coming over and us inheriting other people's problems. I hate to say it, but getting at the trash of other countries. But I'm not a big fan of Trump as a person. I find him kind of annoying, arrogant. He has a punchable face, but he's the president. He has a kind of a mouth on him, but I gotta respect him. He sees things through. He's done more in his short time than, I hate to say it, than Obama did. And people don't say anything bad about Obama, but Obamacare alone, Affordable Health Care Act, fucked up so much shit. Right now at my job, people can spend around $2,400 a month in healthcare because now companies don't have to contribute towards healthcare. They don't even have to offer it. It's your responsibility. And really there's only 5 or 6 major healthcare providers in the United States right now, and you can only shop around these plans so much. So if they tell you, hey, the rates are going up 38% this year, you might have to just take it unless you can find a better deal. Trump has done a lot of stuff that's had a big impact. I'm hearing more and more from people in the IT field and various facets, including development, programming jobs, which I consider all part of the whole IT umbrella. Really, there's so much overlap now. It's like distinguishing an engineer from a technician from a programmer. It's a pretty futile thing because everyone's kind of a generalist these days. They might specialize in certain things, but they do a little bit of everything, right? I know I have to do everything. It's like, oh, can you do brain surgery too? Yeah, sure. Why not? And that's ain't even so much a question. It's like, oh, you're doing brain surgery. It's like, shouldn't we hire a professional to do this? No, we need to save cost. Okay, sure. If I kill somebody, don't blame me. But yeah, I'm hearing from more and more people that a lot of no offense to Indian folks out there, but a lot of the Indians out there that are over on H-1Bs, their work visas are being denied, and they're finally being asked the right questions. And it's kind of a slap in the face. For a long time, this is why I didn't follow through doing programming as a full-time job, because to me it's not really worth it. There's a lot of work, but a lot of it underpays because they figure they could just hire someone from India and pay him $40,000 or less a year, which is in a lot of states, and I would say in most states, that's not very good pay. Certainly not for that job. And I know there's folks out there making 20, 30,000. But I'm also sure that they got other people earning income in their homes to make that work. Certainly, that's not gonna go very far in like New York City. That's like getting spit in the face at that rate. But yeah, a job that would pay 80, 90, maybe more, pays 30, 40,000. If they could just hire someone from India. But I'm finally cutting back on that. If that's a good direction to go in, and I feel bad for anyone that's really just trying to, make some good money, go back to their country and help their families out. But we gotta take care of our own. And that's really what this whole government shutdown makes you think about is, the fact that the military is the first place where they start cutting, you know, um, shutting down VAs, you know, uh, not even paying the military, but they still have to work. That's pretty scary. Because the whole thing with government shutdown is that people don't understand is they shut down non-essential services, but non-essential services, that's a very subjective thing. Because for someone who relies on the welfare check and actually really needs that help, you know, is that essential or not? So they still put, money still goes out, people still get paid, but like a lot of the folks that work in those different agencies have to take forced holidays, or they have to work their furlough days, which is working without pay, stuff like that. That's basically what happens. It's pretty scary stuff, and there's also reserves they could tap into to cover some of their loss. But we had a 3-day shutdown, right? That's what it effectively ended up being, and it wasn't even really 3 full days. And the weekend, I guess you can't really count it because Saturday and Sunday most government agencies are not operating anyway. And I gotta go to DFAX or Social Security or the IRS on the weekend. In most places, at least. I don't know how much it changes state by state, but I know there's a little bit of variance on that. So, and they got call centers too. There's so many jobs out there that you think about it. When things stop working, then it really hits you like, damn. It takes a lot of folks to keep things running. But the one thing that and the government shutdown didn't have any impact on the market. The market's been doing great. Dow Jones closed 26,000 and went up 140 points, if I'm not mistaken. You know, a lot of optimism on the stock market. Unemployment is still at a low. More jobs are being created. Amazon's shopping around its second. It wants to look for its second city to set up a headquarters. They went down from 200 and change. All these different cities pitching why they should go there, and now what you call it is down to 20, and Atlanta's one of them. So that's pretty cool. Then there's like 3 cities that are like close vicinity: DC, some city in Virginia, and I think another city in Maryland. I can't think of the names, but use your imagination. What's close to DC? Yet Section 8 is still fine. Yeah, and they were saying that post office still gonna run. People still gonna get their Social Security checks, welfare checks, public assistance. Say public assistance. There's a lot of things in that umbrella. So really, it's all the shutdown is a fear tactic. It's a way to bring down heat. And, historically, and I'm just gonna say I don't really identify with Democrat or Republican. I think the two-party system is full of shit. I think both sides have assholes. I don't think it's really clear. To have this notion that these parties are unified by core values, on paper it works, but at the end of the day, everybody has their own agenda, and you have to evaluate candidates. You have to evaluate the politicians on their own merits, not what party they're with. Though, if I had to lean one way, I think Republicans are making more sense these days than Democrats. Which I used to be more of at least identify more Democrat or liberal. But a lot of the Democrats sadly are crybabies, and they're just about making us think about stuff instead of doing the right thing and actually getting things done, right? and the Republicans are getting it done. That's really what it comes down to. And the Democrats now cannot blame this shutdown on the Republicans. The Republicans tried to give Democrats what they wanted. They you know a bill was offered. You know, the president said, you know, Trump said, hey, you know, I'm willing to sign whatever. Let's just get this done. The only thing he wanted, I think, really was to get his wall built, which, you know, I don't know how effective the wall is going to be, you know, but whatever. So it's kind of funny, like, on one side we're talking about DACA, and on the other side we're building a wall. So we still have a issue with immigration, right? But, you know, by talking about DACA and the Dreamers, and talking about Chip, you know, it's like, oh, it's about the children. Think about the children. And, you know, it's great to help your neighbor out, but if we're not taking care of our own, when we have, you know, veterans that they're not getting benefits, you know, not getting proper attention. I think I read a stat somewhere that said, you know, I might be exaggerating, but I could have sworn it said something about 21 veterans commit suicide a day, something like that. That's crazy. We have a real problem there. You know, we're not giving them the support system they need. And it doesn't have to be financial. I mean, I guess everything, you know, ultimately is driven by money, right? But it doesn't have to necessarily just be giving them money, but help create the opportunities for them to acclimate themselves to civilian life, you know? Kind of like how a good university does, where they, you know, they network for you and help open up job opportunities, right? So it's an easy transition. And have counseling services and, you know, support lines, 24/7 support lines, stuff like that. That, you know, sometimes all people really need is just someone to talk to get to that point where you just say, I give up, I'm done. Yeah, the VA is a joke. That's just a big reason I didn't become you know, a career military guy. I always had that kind of sense I really want to give back to the community and that patriotic duty, and I knew it was gonna be tough, but I honestly couldn't do it. I didn't have the courage to go through that mess, you know, because civilian life is hard enough. But being in the military a long time, you know, you put in a 8-year bid or more, and then you come back to civilian world, it's a hard thing to change from, you know. What WarChild's talking about, he's following my vibe. He says that he's told E1 qualifies for welfare. Think about that. Yeah, yeah, that military shit doesn't go very far. Um, you know, really what helps out is they give you those bonuses, and if you're smart, you'll invest it, you know, in the right things, so that money will keep paying back dividends. And of course, the GI Bill's still great, but you know, a lot of times with if you take advantage of those benefits, that you have forgetting my military to speak here, ADOTs, you know, additional deployment orders, uh, order terms. So basically, you know, and you know, you take advantage of something that you extend your contract. The government owns you longer. Yeah, the GI Bill, you gotta pay it back, but you know, some of it is subsidized. You know, there's grants and stuff. Um, it's a nice way to get additional training, right? And the military does still have good training. So if you take advantage of that, you'll be highly marketable and come back to the civilian market. It's just, you know, there's still a lot of room for improvement, right? So it's not all it's cracked up to be. Of course, you know, recruiters dress it up. You know, they tell you about, oh, you'll be swimming in pussy, and you know, you got all these different bonuses, and you know, you can go to school, and we'll pay for it, and this and that. You know, you get to travel a lot, which you know, that part didn't appeal to me. You know, and most places you go, they look at Americans, they're like, ah, fucking pieces of shit. You so full of yourself, you think you own the world. And it's like, well, don't get mad at me. That's stuff my government did. You know. And you know, you go outside, you go off post, and it's the Wild West, you know. Oh, you're American. They smell it on you. Get robbed and bamboozled, and yeah. You know, to each their own. I'm sure a lot of people like that part. It's a hard life. You know, if you're not leaving anything behind, then it's great, right? But if you're leaving family behind, responsibilities, it's tough, you know. Especially like, you know, when you have longer deployments like the Navy would have, you know, far, far away from dry land, and all this familiar, and it's rough. It's rough. And of course, you know, the military, whatever branch you're in, they kind of become an extended family, right? Again, developing a support system is key, but it's not an easy thing, and I recognize that. So, you know, I give props to people that are doing it or have done it for a long time, not just hey, I'm gonna do reserves, get a little extra money, and then be done with it. You know, or just doing like a short bid. You know, playing it safe. I'm gonna do this until I figure out what I'm doing, which is a lot of people do in the military. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. I imagine probably at least half of the military are folks that are just trying to find their way. Anywho, I'm rambling on. So yeah, government shutdown. Over in the blink of an eye. We'll see what happens in February. This DACA thing though, it's crazy because, you know, yeah, if we're talking about it, there's 8 million people that would be impacted by DACA, and that might be a low number. So think about that. What would it cost to what's a livable income? You know, talk about $30, $40, $50,000 worth in benefits possibly, plus administrative overhead, people that have to facilitate these things, manage this stuff, handle cases, talk to the folks. You know, so 2 or 3 times that by 8 million, Jesus, the number's staggering, and that's taxpayer dollars. So I mean, if we finally just said, hey, you know, I honestly think the solution would be, hey, we're gonna set up a relocation program for these folks, so we don't completely abandon them, but you're not staying here. Even do it for half of them. Do a lottery. I don't know. So it's random. No one feels like no one gets butthurt like, oh, you're picking on me because I'm funny looking. No. It's a lottery. It's completely random. And then help the other folks get set up somewhere else. You know, we got relationships with other countries and say, hey, you know, we got this many people. Do you have a shitty place you can stick them in that's a little better than where they came from? That sounds terrible. I'm kidding. But I mean, I'm mostly serious though. I think, and I'm not gonna say it's not our problem. That's not a good attitude to have about anything. But I think that if we try to be big brother to the world, and I guess it comes with being a superpower, right? You know, being a world power. Eventually, you spread your resources thin, and you have nothing to give. So, and you know, it's interesting. There's been several folks that have stepped up, immigrants that went through the proper channel, and they've themselves come forth and said, yeah, this illegal immigration shit is bullshit. You know, war refugees, whatever the situation is. Here's the deal. You know, if we open our doors to everyone that comes here, we're gonna fuck up this country and make it as shitty as the country they came from. So everybody loses. And it's true. There's finite resources. What are you gonna do? Keep raising taxes? You know, how you gonna raise the money to support those extra mouths? You know. So, and you know, you think about another thing. You know, if you look at some of the benchmarks that are used to establish, I guess you could call it sustainability. Well, the average U.S. household is supposed to be 2.2 people, which I call bullshit on that. But that's what the census says. A lot of that, actually, that's probably lower now. It's probably 1.8 people because a lot of folks now don't want to have kids or they live the single life. You know, that's what they want to do. That's kind of the in thing now. And the old values, you know, that we kind of grew up on, you know, that the nation was founded on are going out the window. You know, people are just so cynical. It's like, marriage just ends in divorce, or I don't need a piece of paper tell me my relationship is good. You know, shit like that we tell ourselves just to justify selfish behavior, sad, lonely, pitiful kind of thoughts. I'm sure there's some people that believe that and it's truly something they believe in, and then you know, that's the way you want to live. That's your prerogative. I'm not gonna judge you. I think it's sad, but you know, hey, because you know, no man is an island. We make it through things because we have folks there for us that have our backs one way or another. No one truly makes it on their own, and if they think there's anyone who says they're completely self-made and self-sufficient, full of shit. Full of shit. I know there was a point I was getting at beside this. But yeah, you know, yeah. So another thing, you look at it, earned income credit. You can only claim that on 2 children. After that, you get like $40 per child. It's that's interesting. That is interesting. You know, it's very telling. So you know, if Lupe from Mexico decides, you know, she can no longer live in Mexico, and in no other place in Mexico she could possibly move to, it has to be the United States, and she's got 10 children. Why does that have to be our burden? You know, it's like, yeah. Look, and I hate to say it, but children are great. But if you can't afford them, it shouldn't be the village's. You know, there's that old saying, what is it? It takes a village to raise a child. That's true, but it doesn't mean like people should just do whatever they want and then, you know, be YOLO, and then let someone else deal with the headache. You know, it's just common sense kind of stuff. You know, that should dictate how you behave as a human being. You know, you don't walk around your house taking a shit wherever you feel like it, right? Why is that? Because it's indecent? That's part of it. But because in the long term, it creates problems. Not just for you, but for other people. You know, every action just has a ripple effect, and people really don't think that far ahead. I mean, there are people in our country, and I've met some of them, that their whole existence in life is to push out children for tax exemptions, and they whore out their children for tax exemption. Not literally, but they go to their friends. All right, you want to claim my child? Here, this is how much you have to give me in cash. It's like, what? That shit goes on a lot more often than you think. Especially if you're in the hood. Go in the ghetto. Oh boy. I knew this one girl. Her children were sweet, but man, I felt so bad for them. The stuff, they were so well behaved, all things considered, but the things they had to see, and maybe they didn't see it completely, but you just get a sense of things. When your mother constantly has different men coming in and out of her bedroom, she stays in her bedroom the whole day, and then, you know, door closes, like, there's funny sounds coming from the room. This is, wow. Okay, children, just entertain yourselves. No adult supervision. So then, you know, the older children have to grow up and take on that role, because mommy's too busy spreading her legs and making more babies and getting paid for favors. Oof. Sad stuff. Sad stuff. WarChild says Section 8 ain't meant for living. So, you know, that public assistance is, you know, I think it's important stuff. I definitely think it's essential. We can't stop that kind of stuff. But what needs to happen is, you know, what a lot of times happens with those kind of benefits, you know, any kind of public assistance from the government, is the folks that really need it get denied, or they have a hard time maintaining it until they get back up on their feet. And they don't want to stay there. They just need a little shot in the arm. And then there's folks who just know how to game the system, and they keep it indefinitely and have no intention of getting out of their funk, you know. So, you know, it's crazy. What needs to happen, there needs to be some kind of like, almost, I would say, treated like unemployment. But the unemployment's broken too because all they do is just watch the show that you're looking for work. Just putting out apps, kind of a bullshit thing. I think it's important for us to say, hey, what efforts are you doing to change your life? What books have you read? Submit a book report. Tell me about a recent book you read that gave you a life skill or a trade skill. Did you learn something new? Just to have a sense that the person is actually enriching themselves and not just saying, well, shit sucks. I don't have this degree. Never graduated from college, from high school. I'll just find a way to game the system like my other friends do. It's like get high and drink all day on the taxpayer dollars. Ugh. I said that we were going to move on from the political stuff, and we kind of lingered on it. So anyway, I do need to wrap up, and then we're getting close to the hour mark. I want to talk about the Dragon Ball series. And that's a hard thing to say because, for most fans, there's Dragon Ball Z / Super. There's like the two eras of the Dragon Ball series. Because Dragon Ball has a very distinct kind of vibe to it. And then Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super very clearly have a continuity and a similar vibe. Dragon Ball Super has definitely been a return to form. By the way, what is episode? I put episode 224. Episode 124 finally got out. Excuse me. That's finally out, and I can't wait because that's a continuation of the battle for the universes. The ultimate tournament. It's gonna determine which universe gets to survive. And I already have a feeling I know how they're gonna work around this, but I just want to see how they're gonna take down Jiren. Let me get a cough drop here. Because Jiren is freaking unstoppable. They took out, spoilers. They took out Hit. Hit was a beast. Smart fighter. Natural talent. If you look at Goku, he's clearly been the centerpiece of this. And Vegeta has had his moments to shine, but it's really always been about, Goku. And at times you started to feel like, oh, Gohan's going to be the next prodigy, the next centerpiece. And then you go, oh, maybe it's going to be Goten. And no, it's going to be Trunks, right? But they still fall. They're kind of a backdrop. And then, you have this rivalry between Vegeta and Goku that kind of fuels them both. And you see the relationship develop. Vegeta's really terrible at showing his feelings, but you start to see a softer side of him, and he's actually ends up being more emotionally mature than Goku. Because Goku's goofy, they make it seem like he's definitely childlike. They lead you on to believe that even though he has kids, he's never kissed his wife. There's a line in there where they say that, and I'm like, huh? And Vegeta's like, what? Vegeta's been there more for his family than Goku has. Like, Goku's just straight obsessed with fighting and training and being stronger and stronger. And I think about that. Like, I love the Dragon Ball series, but as a whole, you look at it, Goku's lovable, but they don't do a good job of explaining why he wants to get stronger. He's even asked, why do you want to be stronger? Jiren asked him that, and he's like, because I want to be stronger. That's not a very good answer, It's not. So I look at GT, and after revisiting it, it's only 64 episodes, easy to binge. Goku be summoning Shenlong and not kissing Chi-Chi. And let me tell you, Bulma has aged way better than Chi-Chi has. Though they made Bulma look kind of busted in GT. The way people age, like why does Krillin look so much older than everyone else? It's like, huh? I guess because the Saiyans don't age much. But freaking old Turtle Sama, freaking what's his name, Master Roshi. He looks the same throughout the whole series. Anyway, so Dragon Ball. I'm gonna come out and say it. Dragon Ball GT, not as bad as I remember it being, and I think the Namiko. Oh God, I feel so bad for Piccolo sometimes. He's had a rough story. Anywho, I think that, I'm trying to think, like, and I'd like to hear everybody's thoughts on this. So you email mail at geekyanswers.net, or leave us voicemail or text 646-801-2149. Again, 646-801-2149, or hit us up on Twitter at Geeky Antics, and me personally at Yogizilla. You'll find the rest of us in there too. Anyway, so I just got really thinking about everything, there's a lot of disdain towards GT. It's considered trash, and when Super came out after Kai, because Kai came out to basically address one of the biggest problems with Dragon Ball Z, is that it drags on. They drag on in the fights. There's so much filler, and they just condensed it. And I haven't watched Kai, all of Kai. I'm debating if my next binge is going to be watching Dragon Ball Z Kai, whatever they call it, or going to the beginning, Dragon Ball. And Dragon Ball is really hard to go back to because it's a whole different kind of pace. So I don't know. I might just do Kai, and then when I really have nothing else left, I'll go back to Dragon Ball. It's like over 200 episodes, I think, on that. Dragon Ball Kai is much shorter because, again, instead of having 10 episodes from one fight, some 20 episodes from one fight, they condense it a lot more. And then in between, you don't have a lot of little silly things like people drinking tea or someone jerking off in a bed of flowers. I don't know, silly stuff like that. It would feel like at times Dragon Ball Z is just be like episodes back to back to back where they're just powering up. And that's one part where it does get a little silly because it's like instead of getting more skillful at fighting, it's just like, can I attain more power? Give me your key. Oh, I'm level 3 now. I'm level 4. I leveled up again. And then you got the craziness with God Mode and God Mode Blue and Ultra Instinct. Yeah, it's pretty silly, but you enjoy it. But when you look at the fights, and this is why I love Naruto. And Naruto, the fights it's not just charisma and strength that pushes people through a fight. They develop skills and talents, and they learn strategies, and there's teamwork, and this all of this holds true throughout all of Dragon Ball, including GT. It's like, unlock the latest power level. Oh, it's not enough. Well, now I need to borrow your power, and then it comes down to a times 10 attack, or what's the other thing? The KO King mode. I guess the same thing as times 10, where you push your body beyond its limits, but it could damage you if you go too far. And then Spirit Bomb, or Kamehameha times 10. You can pretty much call what's gonna happen. A lot of times it feels like it's the Spirit Bomb that wins. The Spirit Bomb is pretty silly too because it's just slow attack. You could probably outrun it no matter how big it is, or use instant movement to dodge it. But you just you suspend your disbelief and just go with it, right? There's a lot of things that happen. It's just silly. So anyway, go back to the GT because I could talk about. We'll probably talk about this more when we get the game together. Hopefully this Thursday. Oh, Super Saiyan Blue times 20. Jiren slapped it away. Yeah, that's got to be demoralizing. But all right, so GT. It's very obvious to me what's wrong with it. Well, all right, let me backtrack. What I see wrong with it are a few things, and I'm thinking this is what the fans don't like. Um, GT, well, one, it ends the series, right? So and it's a very melancholy note. Um, they basically hint at Goku being dead, but without straight up saying it, and none of the characters really say it. They never really admit it, but that's what's happened. The Dragon Balls are gone. I'm sorry, spoiler territory. If you never got to watch GT, but it's not canon anymore, so it doesn't matter. So very very kind of somber note. But then they show like the 3 generations down from Goku, his great 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 grandson, I guess. Yeah, that holds. I think that's right. And Pan-chan would be the great grandmother of Goku. Looks just like him. And they basically give you a hint. Oh, it's history repeats itself. And Goku absorbs the Dragon Balls. Like, what's going on here? Why is he riding on Shenlong? Has he become a god? Or, you don't get any answers. It's just a final farewell, right? Just kind of leave it up to interpretation. There's a whole montage at the end of a lot of the big moments throughout the Dragon Ball series, and then like the end. So I think that's the number one thing that pisses off fans. Like, really? That's all you give us? 64 episodes to send us away? And there wasn't really an epic battle to the very end. It is very formulaic, because ultimately the way for almost all of the battles, well, not all of them, but like the ones at the end, except for one, the very last one, the way they win is just by Goku becoming Super Saiyan 4 and monkey mode, which is to me is pretty badass. I like the little whole tail look and furry chest, pretty cool. That sounds kind of gay, but anyway. So that's one thing, and we don't like to say goodbye to things, especially when it feels abrupt. So then you backpedal from that, and when it's even more annoying when if the series had ended there, because man, there's so many things now that I'm thinking about it. The pacing at first it feels a lot like Dragon Ball, right? It starts a very lighthearted, fun little adventures. Goku's turned to a kid. He doesn't have his full power, so they fight. Naturally, they have to fight weak enemies, and it's just fun, right? You got the grill, the robot that was good, bidu bidu or whatever he says, the gidu gidu, and that's cool, kind of comic relief. Trunks gets a little spotlight for once. And I remember back in the days when when you saw future Trunks go back into Dragon Ball Z, you're like, man, Trunks is probably gonna become really powerful. Look how how good he is with the sword, and so he probably develops new technique because he uses a weapon. He develops his own style. So you don't see that happen, because this future in GT is very different than what we've seen in Super, and kind of the little glimpses you had in Dragon Ball Z into the future. So there's so many different timelines. So I guess one way to go into GT is to see it as an alternate timeline, like a kind of what if universe type of thing, of how things happen in one time line, one string of events. I think when you treat it that way, it's less grating, right? So it starts off very Dragon Ball, very lighthearted. Then it gets really heavy. It's people dying, everything gets destroyed, and then it's like, wow, this is all very final. And at the very end, they're like, oh, you can't. There's no more reset button. We're taking the Dragon Balls away. Oh, there is a slight reset. So that's some of the stuff I noticed. There's another thing that stood out for me. I'm trying to think. It's good. You have to hand it to them, because GT addressed an issue inherent with the show, because the show's called Dragon Ball, not the Adventures of Goku, though that's what it really is, right? But even on Super, it's still an issue. I think it's Super. Well, now in Super they kind of now like, okay, then they rely on it less, but now they have the Super Dragon Balls, you know. Um, so on Dragon Ball GT, they had the Black Star Dragon Balls, which are the ones that if you use them, they're more powerful than the Earth's Dragon Balls. But if you use them, you have to recover them again and put them back together, or else the planet where you made your wish will get destroyed within a year. You have to do it within a year, or else your planet, the planet you did the wish on, gets destroyed. And King Pilaf, who looks really rough, turned Goku into a kid, because that's what he was kind of wishing, even though he didn't really wish that. That's how all the shenanigans start. So with the Dragon Ball, it's kind of like time travel. When I introduced that kind of narrative device, you can pigeonhole yourself, because it's like there's no gravitas, there's no weight, no real consequence to actions. If something goes wrong, you might feel a little flustered in the heat of the moment, but ultimately you're like, oh, they could just wish to go away, and then I'll be all right. So then nothing really has any meaning. So that's really something I think GT did a good job of nipping in the bud, but I guess in doing that, by making the Dragon Balls irrelevant, they also said, well, the series can continue because it's Dragon Ball. So the Dragon Balls are at the center of this story. So I wonder with Super, now that they have the Super Dragon Balls, and we've established God mode, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, does that mean Super Saiyan God mode and Super Saiyan Ultra Instinct, all that stuff, that eventually there's gonna be an ultimate level where they can't back down from it, and it's like, all right, this is where we have to stop things, right? And it's really hard to imagine an enemy tougher than Jiren, who has power comparable to a god. Like right now, Beerus, who I think is a really cool dude, I love his character. I'm like, damn, I'm less intimidated by Beerus now, and he's become kind of soft. He's really gotten. He's got into. He digs these Earth folks. He's like, oh, these are cool people. Ultra Instinct is separate from Super Saiyan. Oh yeah, sorry, it is a separate thing. It's a technique. It's like a technique that even gods have trouble mastering. So it's not a Saiyan. Okay, it's not a Saiyan bloodline technique. People say Jiren has Ultra Instinct. Yeah. I just think he has such overwhelming power. I think Jiren's secret is simply that he had natural strength. No one was strong enough to intimidate him. So like he just chills and meditates and collects his chi, his ki, whatever you want to call it, and that's all he does. And he just stores it up. So he's just super powerful, Because they kind of lead on to that. It's like, all right, peace trooper peoples or whatever. You handle this. These guys are below me. There might be an attack and defense mode. Yeah. And that's another thing too. And Naruto did a great job of doing this. If you have the ultimate defense, you can't have the ultimate offense. If your offense is unstoppable, then that theoretically means that if someone was able to redirect your attacks at you, that you would get hurt. It has to be one or the other. Impenetrable defense or the unstoppable offense. You know what I mean? There's always one that's going to be stronger than the other. That's just logically how it works out. So if you have an attack that nothing can stop, then it should hurt you too if someone like redirected it at you, right? So that stuff like that is like I look at it, I'm like, someone's got to develop a technique where they could just like turn an attack back on someone. They'd be like OP. And it's been done before here and there, but you would think you would see it more often than you do see it in the Dragon Ball universe. So I'm excited to see what happens with Jiren. I'm gonna watch it right after this show, and then I'm gonna hit the hey, I'm beat. But one episode I know it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get pumped off of this one episode, then make me want more. I'll be like, fuck, there's no more. Gotta wait like another. What is it? They come out weekly now. Is it like every 2 weeks? Who knows? I hope they have a longer run though. I hope this ends up being 200, 300 plus episodes of quality. Like if they keep the pace they have now, it's perfect. They worked out a lot of the problems from past runs. It's great pacing. Every episode is satisfied. You never feel like there's filler where they're just dragging it out. But man, I mean, how can you top what they're doing now? And I think it's really one of the things is Goku's kind of had this whole thing where he just wants to get stronger, and if it's not for defending the Earth, it's to compete in the tournament. It's a pattern, right? There's got to be something else. Maybe they explore the universe. Maybe he seeks out people in other universes or further away in his universe. I don't know. They've kind of opened a door for that, right? They've made the world of Dragon Ball bigger. Maybe this is the start of fresh new things, right? So I hope that's what it is, not the beginning of the end. You look at Jiren and it's like, man, it's hard to imagine someone that's even stronger than him. When they already established the system of gods, you got the gods of creation and the gods of destruction, which still doesn't even make complete sense. And the gods of creation and the gods of destruction are tied together. So if one gets killed, the other gets killed. That's a fatal flaw for the gods of destruction. And then you got the god of all that sits in the middle of all the universes, and he's even more childlike than Goku, and uses the planets and the universes as marbles and accidentally destroys them. I wonder, are the Super Dragon Balls so powerful that they can bring back destroyed universes? Because that's the plan they have, right? But again, if it's that simple to just hit the reset button, yeah, Jiren, that's his name, the god of all, Genosama. If it's that simple to just hit the reset button, then again, you get to that place where it's like, well, no matter what happens, they can bounce back from it. Cause we've seen it all. Earth has been destroyed. How many times? I've lost track. And Dragon Balls were corrupted in GT. They found a way to, cleanse them. And it's funny because they made a joke about it. It's like, Goku can't just use your fist to beat yourself out of any situation. And that's exactly what it does to fix the Dragon Balls once they become corrupted with the minus energy. But long story short, I really enjoyed GT. There's really just a few flaws that I noticed, But it tries to bring everything around full circle, right? It brings the vibe of Dragon Ball and the Dragon Ball Z stuff at the end. At the end of that series is very Dragon Ball Z with the way the fights go on, and everything kind of escalates, and then everybody kind of pitching in, but ultimately it's Goku, right? Vegeta's always playing from behind, but you see some relationships develop, with some satisfying, character developments there, and then to just say this is the end. That I see why that part's frustrating. And for the longest, I just thought, I hear from so many fans that GT was hot trash, but I enjoyed it. It was a good way to time me over until the latest episode of Super came out. That's the thing with when you get into anime, especially I find with Dragon Ball, is You know, it's always like you got to eat the whole plate. You got to eat the whole course. You know, not just the one dish. You know, it's a whole package, a whole buffet. There you go. You can't just have one plate. You gotta keep going. You just want more and more, right? It's kind of like that by design. So that's probably gonna be my ongoing thing. I'm gonna be consuming all Dragon Ball that I can, and I'm gonna probably go back to the beginning. But I think Kai will be next. I want to re-experience the story with the new format. And the one thing I remember the Soul story very well because I watched that so many times, and it's still like it still makes my blood boil when he starts eating everybody. It's like, no, you're making him stronger. Just throw the strongest person at him instead of throwing the weaklings at him and making him stronger. And they've had a few enemies like that throughout all the Dragon Ball runs. I notice there's always some enemy that like uses other people's powers. What was that one? The last one I saw that got stronger the more you fought him. That'll come to me later. There's been a few of them. Vegeta fed him to androids. Yeah. Oh my god, poor androids. Who made the androids again? I forgot. Was it the same guy that they had in GT, Masu? Remember. But yeah, the whole Buu saga, the Majin Buu saga, I want to watch that again. Cause there's a whole thing there with what's his name, Babito and all those folks. That's very hazy and very fuzzy in my head. Dr. Gero. Okay, it's a different doctor. The Red Ribbon Army, that's right. But the Red Ribbon Army also dates back to OG Dragon Ball 2, right? See, this is why I gotta watch it all again, because now it's like all out of whack in my head. By the way, I like the way my future Mai looks. She's pretty cute in the future. Just gonna throw that out there. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I think it's a good stopping point. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's episode 124. Super. Oh, they're not gonna end this thing with Jiren in this one episode, cause they just started facing off with him again. This is gonna go on for like 4 or 5 episodes, but I want to see what else is gonna happen. Like how this is gonna escalate. Like is Goku gonna finally master Ultra Instinct, be able to call on it when he needs it? Like what's gonna happen? Yeah, Trunks and Mai word. Anywho, thanks for joining us. This is actually longer than I expected it to be. Got pumped up there talking about all this stuff, but hopefully we're back this Thursday. Just well, now just a couple of days from now, 2 or 3 days from now, depending on how you look at it. And we should be doing it around 10 p.m. I'm gonna shoot for if all goes well. Anywho, I'm Yogizilla. Yogizilla pretty much everywhere. Xbox Live, Twitter. I'm gonna try to be on those things more often, be more engaging again. Just trying to get into that rhythm, you know, get a good balance going. So I'm gonna make more of a concerted effort with that this year. It's tough. You have a very demanding job. It's hard to make room for anything else, but we'll get there. But yeah, see you next week. Peace.